So we were sitting here having a nice coffee, you know, it was bloody peaceful. And then Alan and Kimberly arrive. Dreams Catamaran. And what is it? Fontaine Peugeot
Elba 45.
Elba 45 for sale at the moment. And I am not the broker. Did you hear that, Brent? I am not the broker. But I'll sell it for him. If you want a beautiful Fontaine Peugeot, these guys have got one for sale. We've just had a couple of hour chat. Al and I have chewed the cud. He's basically going to provide me with all of his tracking on his navionics so that we know where to go. So thanks, guys. Thanks very much. Enjoy Jervis Bay. You're going to enjoy the shuffle from north to south every time the wind changes, because we don't have a lot of sheltered anchorages, but we've got some beautiful ones.
Got nothing else to do anyway, so what's the difference?
That's right. Yeah, that's what cruising's all about. I've secretly been living vicariously through his Instagram blogs. Every time he puts up a post, I think, you bastard. I'm so impressed. It's a beautiful boat, guys. Get onto it. Seven years of crap all over our back deck. And Janet and I actually were going to measure the roof lining to make sure it was right before we bring it down here, and we saw an opportunity to start a little cleanup, but it's turned into an hour-long mission with some Starbright deck cleaner, and now I'm on my hands and knees scraping bits of resin off. So this has just been monumental, the amount of dirt on the back. I think there's hope. We're gonna, these dark spots here are all resin, so they're gonna need a little bit of a chip and a little bit of a serious focus with the brush, but it is coming off. It's not ideal, but we're getting there, aren't we?
Yeah, and once we get it off, we'll polish it again, and then.
And it's about 100% humidity and 30 degrees, so I'm stinking hot.
Yeah, me too.
It's bloody hot.
Yeah, we're both. But look what we have as an option if we get too hot.
Yeah, this is pretty nice. It's cleaning up my knees too, the Starbright. I don't know if it's real good on my knees, but yeah, this has been the process is scrubbing it clean, and we've still got a lot to do, but we're getting it there.
Right, it seems to do a better job than when we were in the yard and used acid wash. It actually seems to be doing a better job.
The Ronstein cleaner just didn't seem to cut it. It wasn't working, was it?
No.
And then we can give it a light polish tomorrow, and hopefully.
Yeah. Alright, I'm going to get on with it.
Janet has had me on my hands and knees all weekend rubbing this deck. We're onto steel wool, quickly with acetone, steel wool, and then wipe it clean, and you get rid of the black shit that comes off the steel wool. But look at the difference. We're really working through some serious 7 years of serious stains here.
So
we've got the engine ready trying to charge the battery up because we've got new solar panels. But
I don't know if you can see it.
It did actually look like this over here.
Yeah, look how it's actually quite useful sometimes.
I'm glad about
and
that.
And then look at this. So hopefully you can see the difference, because I can. And it has been driving me nuts. So we've still got a ways to go, but we're getting there. Then we'll have to polish it, I guess, to keep it clean.
Well, Janet's had me scrubbing the floor. Well, I've got Janet polishing the back deck, and I'm pretty happy about that. Get into it, Tom. It's about 35 degrees today. It's stinking hot. And I've had a couple of swims, and I'm going to have another one in a minute before we go home. But we've got this floor all done, and we've got a new little battery-operated polisher, which is just a business, and we're not using our power. We just ran our engine for about half an hour just to top up our power, and look what I'm dealing with. I mean, was this worth 7 years of hard work? Shit, yeah. Look at this. That there is a sand spit about 50 metres wide, and on the other side of that is a beach that's about 7 kilometres long. It's not a surf beach, but it does get waves, but it is a beautiful beach called Kalala Beach. And the nice thing about that is just there's a walkway through to it, and we can go over and have a swim at the actual beach if we decide not to have a swim here. But the good thing is I can swim laps up and down here, get some exercise during the day while I'm working on the boat, so pretty bloody happy. This is where you see the benefits of our sugar skids. Look at the tide that runs through here. It's about 4 or 5 knots at the moment. And you know, it's pretty good if you just jump in there and swim forward. You're basically swimming against the current. Got the got the polishing happening there, and we've got our rego number on here. Now I must have been on the piss when I did that, because the 5's way out of shape and so is the 4, so I better replace that. We've got our security camera on board already. It's fed back to my phone, and up here it's looking just spectacular, and I'm absolutely stoked to be here now. I'm really starting to relax and enjoy working down here on the boat. Coming down here by boat every morning is just an absolute delight after all those years of heading up to the factory and listening to the boys in the factory just take the piss out of me. But anyway, that's it. There's a lot of cleaning to be done. We've got a hell of a lot of work to be done here around the mast base and everything, and a lot of cleaning on the deck, a couple of chips to fix. And on Friday morning I'm heading up to Sydney, and I'm going to meet John Hodges, who's going to deliver my chain plates and some backing plates we've got made for the 4-beam and for the Seagull Striker. So lots going on at the moment, even though I'm not working full time down here on the boat. I'm trying to get stuff done around the house, but this is just fantastic, getting some polishing done. We're starting to seriously clean up the boat, and you know, it just is a dream come true now, and we've worked bloody hard for it, and yeah, I mean, we're working our backsides off at the moment, but it's so good. It's such a nice change of pace for us at the moment. Now to something that we haven't really discussed on camera, and obviously there's the Life on the Hulls theme, and we're going to stick with that, we're going to run with that. But in the back of my mind, and for the last 7 years, I've had a name for it, and I haven't actually been happy to divulge that, because I could have ended up in jail for saying what I called it. No, only joking. The actual name of the boat has been a very important one, and we've kept it pretty close to our hearts for a very long time, and that is that we've never physically named this boat. It's been something that we've sort of kept to ourselves because we weren't quite sure how we were going to approach it, and we thought we'd call it Life on the Hulls, but I think it really does need a name that sort of engenders what it means to us. And it's been a long time coming, and a lot of skills have come into this boat to make it what it is, and basically we've decided to give it a name finally, and Janet's going to do the unveiling of the name itself.
It's your name, I think you should do it. It's your boat. I hope to do it.
It's actually our boat, and this lady here has helped us, or helped me, build this thing from scratch, lifting moulds on our weekends off, and quite frankly a lot more was asked of Janet than any man should ever ask of his partner, and Janet agrees with that. But anyway, let's go around the front, and let's name this boat, and do it very quietly, and in doing so it will officially be christened. We didn't do it on launch day because quite frankly we forgot to put stickers on. It was just too much going on.
More important things, like engines.
Like getting the thing on the water and getting the engines running and the steering, because we just had a nightmare with the steering and the engines. But anyway, we're going to go up the front here. I've actually put some vinyl lettering on, and we've got our logo.
The logo we've had for a very long time. It's been part of our business through our kayaking and boating,
paddle sports, everything.
Yeah, paddle sports, everything we've done, this name has been with us. So it seems appropriate to carry on and take it with us on the next step. And I'm not going to use the word journey.
Good, don't use the word journey, because it's almost as trendy as the name.
No, overused.
Okay, yeah, overused and trendy. But anyway, this is our boat, and we're going to call it whatever we like. And we officially christened her Synergy, and that is part of our whole ethos. And essentially, it's the combination of our dreams, our skills, and everything else that we've put into it, including a lot of money. So you can peel away the vinyl, and yeah, you just got to peel it away slowly. Start up this end, and we'll officially have christened her. We've already done the champagne bit. Just keep it flat as you pull it off. Cool. Yep. Nice.
So don't stuff this up.
Beautiful. You just got to keep it down low and flat. And this name has been, as Janet said, it's been with us for a long time, and it has always been the name that I chose for this boat right from day one. The nice thing is I already had the vinyls because we use them on all of our products that we make. However, this one's just for us.
Oh no, that's not coming off.
This one's just peeled from the other end. So this one is just for us. That's it. Just keep it down low and flat.
I thought that's what I was doing.
That's it. Beautiful. I'd get in closer, but there's a shadow. Yeah, that looks fantastic. Look at that. We're almost there, Jan. We're almost finally at the naming point, and that's it, guys.
I like it.
We've christened Synergy.
And that's our business logo.
Yeah, that's our logo, and that's actually basically how things go round and round and combine to form a boat like this, and that's basically what's happened. I've been going round and round for a long time in a circle, the continuous circle, and we're very, very proud to christen her Synergy. So, welcome to Synergy, honey.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it too. That's beautiful. Well done. Nice. And it's a Synergy 1270 because we built it at Synergy Boatworks, which is our business. But anyway, here she is. Synergy looks fantastic. I love the logo, I love the name, and I'm a very happy man. I'd almost dive in there.
Don't, it's a bit shallow now, the tide's out.
So while we did that naming ceremony, which was brief, I got in trouble because I interrupted Janet's polishing regime. Sorry, Dom. Sorry to interrupt you with something so important.
Oh no, you know what it is. It's always when it's something you want to do. It has to come first.
Cool, but that looks absolutely beautiful.
Oh, I've got a point.
And we've also, no, I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about you. No, I'm talking about the boat actually. But I'm talking about in here, we also have her logoed up in the center of the saloon here, just to remind us of the work we put in. And yeah, pretty happy about that. Good polisher, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
And it's not too loud. You don't need earmuffs on to use it. Now, what I have in front of me here, and I've actually come up to address, is the scuppers for underneath the boat. We weren't able to put them on until the boat was launched because the truck would have sheared them off as the boat slid into the water, and I was actually mindful of that, so we left it. I've actually prepared the surface underneath the boat, but I certainly haven't glued them on. What I need to do though is spray them up. So we've got about 9 or 10 scuppers here, which are going to go in the drain holes of the anchor lockers and the sail lockers. We've got end caps for the front of the gunwale rail, end caps for the back of the gunwale rail, which we made out of foam, and we've got these 3 large scuppers, which are for the deck drains. Now the reason why those ones are actually sideways is because they're 100mm round hole, and if we get a following sea running up behind the boat and it smacks up under the deck, we're going to end up with a B-day effect up under the deck, and we don't want to be standing there and getting a B-day effect up under the deck. So I've done them sideways so that any water will brush past them and water can still drain out. It's a pretty simple thing. Now, funnily enough, this actually is off the mold that I made originally for the limber holes. So Janet made these up. They're all prepared. They just need to be basically glued in place, but they do need to be sprayed and polished. Obviously, we don't want to put anything on the boat that's not finished entirely. So, but nice to have them all set up. I've spent the morning sanding them, getting them all prepared, ready for a final spray up. We'll get that done, and then I've got a few other jobs to get on with this afternoon. So I was just talking to Johnny Hodges, who's been doing all of our chain plate fabrication, and honestly we went back and forth for a number of months over this, and finally tomorrow morning I'm going to go and collect them. Now I have a bit of an issue. My chain plate actually fits underneath the gunwale rail of the side of the boat where the deck and the hull join, and he's come up with a great suggestion. I'll have to actually grind it out or notch out the gunwale rail and fit the chain plate in place and then somehow get it to fit nice and neatly. So he's come up with a brilliant suggestion. He said, why don't you make a fiberglass splash or a mold over the top of the gunner rail, and then you can do a fiberglass cutout of it and then slip it over the original gunner rail and then cut it to shape. And I think that's such a great idea. So what I've done here is I've got an extra piece of the gunner rail which I didn't use, and I'm keeping it in the factory if ever we hit a dock or anything, and I've just waxed up this section here, and I'm going to lay 3 or 4 layers of glass over it just to give me a mold of the actual shape, and then I'll cut it into 2 sections, and 1 for each side, port and starboard. I'll be able to lay that over the existing gunner rail that's on the boat and basically mark exactly where the chain plates fit once they're fitted on the boat, because they have to go on immediately under the chain plate. The central bolt of the chain plate, in fact there's 2, and I've got a version of it here. This line here is in fact the center of the gunner rail, so the gunner rail is going to fit about there. So all these bolts, potentially even this one here, maybe not that one, but this one here, these 2 will also be underneath the gunner rail. So it's very important that I notch it out properly, and it's not just a matter of notching it out, because I've got an unusual shape, and because it's leaning forward there's an angle to it, so I'm better off to make a full template of it, do it correctly so I can get it as close as possible to the actual fit, and then I'll be able to basically notch it out, and I won't be stuffing up my gunner rail. So a few layers of glass over the top of this, just as a simple mold, will save a lot of conjecture and a lot of trouble when I go to do the final cut on the actual gunner rail. The other thing too is it's only a 3 metre length of gunner rail, because it's the rear section, and I'm having some problems with it because the water's leaking in where all the holes are drilled, and I haven't been able to fit this until now. I just got off the phone with John. He's just spent a bit of time bending the chain plates, getting them to the right angle that we needed for the actual shrouds, and there's a lot going on away from here right now, and I can't wait to get them. And he just said to me, make sure you tie a rope onto them when you fit the chain plates onto the side of the boat, because I haven't got any more material to make any more. And I thought, you just imagine it going plop into the water, and I've got these beautiful polished stainless chain plates sitting on the bottom. Right, well, that's a pretty simple process, just 4 or 5 layers of chopped matting, and now I've got a perfectly shaped mould with which to transfer the cutout of the chain plate. And just like that, honestly, an hour and a half later, and I've got my splash, and it's perfect. It's an exact replica of our gunner rail, and now I can take that down to the boat and basically get that perfect shape before I go attacking our actual gunner rail. So that was an absolutely brilliant idea, Johnny, and I love you for it. I spent yesterday on the road driving up to Sydney to meet John Hodges, who's been making our stainless chain plates, and has he done an amazing job. I sent him a bunch of templates back in, wow, probably about early September, and John has had a mate of his actually cut them on a laser CNC machine, and it's 10mm 316 stainless, and let's have a look at how they came up. These are just absolutely beautiful. There's obviously our whole side chain plates. These are our tangs for our Seagull Striker, and then we have our main forestay chain plate here, which we're going to actually redo because we've decided that using a threaded rod is probably not the best solution. We're going to use a solid bar with a thread tapped onto the end. So we'll remake this one, use this part again, and it just, for that engineering side, it's more important to use, you know, really well engineered parts and not something that's been threaded, because there could be some slight hairline cracks in this, and may not be substantial enough for our needs. But for now, I've got to get in and polish them. Now, to get these to a mirror finish, I'm going to work through the sandpapers and then up to the polishing discs, and then finally we'll be into the black wax with the felt pad. And obviously I've done a lot of this polishing just recently, so it's not going to be a big deal. We are going to take a little edge off this sharp edge on the on the chain plate itself. And you'll notice also that we've countersunk all the bolts, and we had to put a bend in it. Now, the bend originally was going to go here, but in John's wisdom, we're able to move it up a little bit, and get it just a bit higher, which took all the pressure away from fatiguing this area here. It's only a very slight bend, but it is enough to make sure that we get the angle of the shroud, given that these are going to have toggles on them, basically correct, and less pressure on the actual side of the hull. So yeah, lots to do here. I'm going to get the grinder out, get the sandpaper out, start to hand polish these right up to a mirror finish. Oh, these are awesome. 3 weeks ago today we launched, and I have to be honest, haven't been down there a lot. I've had probably 3 or 4 days a week down here. Normally I'd be 7 days a week up in the yard, but I've had some other things to deal with at home. A lot of maintenance that was sort of really seriously lacking at home, and that's so important to keep on top of that, because part of our OCD, Janet and mine, is neatness. And if you want to get rid of your OCDs about being tidy and neat, build a boat, because this boat was an absolute brothel for years. It's really starting to tidy up. I mean, on Thursday last week we started cleaning the decks, and that's just such a gratifying thing to get on top of some of the mess. I've basically been down here just doing a few odd jobs, like getting some waterproofing happening, and that has really given me a good lift too, because I'm starting to see less and less water. And on Friday I drove up to Sydney, met Johnny Hodges, who's made all of our chain plates. I've then, on Saturday up in the yard, I've polished them up, and they're now ready for install. But I have quite a few jobs to do before I can even consider installing them, and one of those is to actually reinforce the area around where the side chain plates, or shrouds, the cap shroud and lower diagonal shroud, will position itself in the actual boat. So down in here in the starboard side, in this robe here, this area here is solid glass where I'm mounting the chain plate, but it also has 9 layers of carbon. I end up putting 9 layers of 600 gram unidirectional, and what I've also done is I've made up this massive base plate of another 2 centimeters of solid glass, and that is actually returned from the mold. It's a piece off the mold that I'm going to glue in place in this area here, and the key is really to give as much backing as possible and spread the load with the actual chain plate pulling on the outside. There's going to be, I think there's 8 bolts all the way around here, and this box section is the key to our engineering here. It's basically tying the whole thing into place. So this guy is actually going to sit in here somewhere like so, and you can see the holes. The base plate of the chain plate, or the backing disc that I've actually got, which is also a centimeter of 316, will be mounted to this, and then the actual chain plate will be subsequently mounted on the outside. Now that also is going to take a bit of work. So first thing is first, I'm going to embed this in epoxy, put it in place. I'll come back and tidy it up. I'll probably do a white textured surround around it, and Janet can flow coat out the actual robe itself. And I have a very similar setup over here on the port side. Up here I've actually just prepared the surface. Janet had actually flow coated it out unbeknownst to me, so I've had to go and prepare that surface for laminating this, or at least gluing this part into place. Once that's in place I can leave that for the day, come back tomorrow, finish it, and then we'll be able to install the chain plates on the outside of the boat, which are going to go around about there. Righto, I'm all lathered up, and I've got a locating pin. I've actually put a drill bit here with some masking tape on it, and it's going to go in that outer hole there. Once I squeeze this in, I do anticipate trying to hold it in place. I've got no other way to actually hold it in place at this stage. So, and that's now in place and fully embedded in epoxy. Actually, that's good. That's holding really well. Because this is only a compression piece. It's not designed to handle any load. It's basically just a packing plate to hold the chain plate in place. Will be fixed by the end of the weekend.